Hey there, welcome to another section of Coding with Drew. In this section, we're going to learn how users work in Bash. So the first command we're going to learn is W will show you all the logged in users. I don't know why it's called W. It's a weird one. W shows you who's logged in to the web server or computer that you're logged in. This is a virtual computer, and so you can see that I logged in at 6:38 and into the console at 6:04. And now from this, I can also say, who am I? And who am I will show me that I am logged in as admin. Now, if I wanted to, and I wasn't logged in as an admin for root. So Linux has this concept of two types of users. There's a regular user, like what I'm logged in as admin. And then there's root is a super user or super admin. And so in order to run some commands, you need permissions from the super admin. And so the way you would do that is super user do or sudo. And sudo allows you to run whatever command that precedes it. So ls/root, for example, allows you to actually follow through with the command with elevated privileges while still logged in as the user that you're logged in as. Now, I could still ls without those permissions, but it's just for demonstration purposes. Sudo by itself does nothing. So if I just run sudo, nothing happens. But if I wanted to be logged in as the root user or the super user, what I would need to do is type in sudo su, and that's sudo super user. Now, if I typed in anything after, it would be the username that I was trying to log in as. Super user su or super user do super user logs me in as the super user. Now I have elevated privileges and I can run any command I want. Now you don't necessarily want to run all commands as a super user. In fact, I recommend not doing this because super user will have permissions that other users will not have. And so other users will not have access to files that are not owned by themselves. So let me exit this user. So I'm just going to exit. And now I'm back to my regular user. So if I say, who am I? Now it says admin. But if I do super user su, then I run who am I, you can see that I am root. All right. I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to exit, run clear again. I like clean slate here. Okay. So in our last section, we talked about ls-lah. And we can see who is the owner of various files and directories. So since as an admin, I do not have permissions to run certain things that aren't owned by me, I can use a command called chown, change ownership. Chown will change the ownership of a file. For example, if I was to have a file and say chown, and then I said username admin, and then I said file directory, which I don't want to do this. So probably let's do, if I use a different username. So if I said Drew, and then I said .zshrc, it's going to change the ownership, the file zshrc, to being Drew. Now Drew doesn't exist, which is why I got this chown error, illegal username. The username does not exist. Another command, which is going to have its own video, but it's akin to chown. And so instead of changing who is the owner, we can change the permissions of the file. And the permissions, like I said, this deserves its own video. I can do chmod 755 and then the file name, so .zshrc. And if I run that, and then I do ls-lah, we can see zshrc has these permissions over here, right there. And it looks like it's read, write, read. If I come down here and look at the new version, I can see that everything has read and execute. Now, like I said, just press the I believe button on this for right now. We're going to dive into this in somewhat detail here in a bit. Okay, so the next command that you need to probably be familiar with is, okay, and so the next command you need to be familiar with is cat. Now, cat is short for concatenate. Cat, or your furry friend, gets into stuff. And cat, if I run it, will allow me to see what's inside of a file. So let's .zshrc. Now, this will output the entire contents of that file into the standard out. Std out is what happens after you run a command and is visible in the terminal. Okay, so this is what's inside the file, and now what can I do with it? I have a lot of options with cat. Cat has, let's look at the man page. Cat has some interesting uses. You can see the number of output lines. You can see the non-printed characters, and you can also count the number of non-blank output lines. So these are useful if you're looking to find out whether or not a file is empty or not. So we're going to put that into our back pocket. I'm going to press Q to exit out. We learned how to tell who is logged in currently we learned how to change to a new user called super user, and we learned how to ask the super user for permission to do things. So we learned sudo su and sudo. We're going to learn a new command called find and then grep. So I look forward to seeing you there.